All right, let's talk about Gevo, because something pretty wild just happened with this biofuel developer. They just dropped their latest quarterly numbers and wow, the market's reaction, it was immediate, it was explosive. So we're going to get into what happened and, the really important part, why it happened.
So get this. The day after they announced, Gevo's stock shot up an incredible 59%. Yeah, you heard that right. 59% in one single day. Look, a move like that, it just doesn't happen for no reason. It's a huge signal that something fundamental has changed in how investors are looking at this company. And that's exactly why we're digging in today.
And just to be super clear here, this wasn't one of those a rising tide lifts all boats situations. Not at all. I mean, if you look at the broader clean energy sector, it was kind of meh, mostly flat. But Gevo, it was in a completely different league. This was all about a Gevo-specific story, a catalyst that lit a fire under this one particular stock.
So this all leads to the big question, right? For years, Gevo was, that classic development stage company, the kind that's burning through cash, trying to get its tech off the ground. So how in the world did they just suddenly flip a switch and start making money? That's the mystery we're going to solve right now.
All right, first up, let's dive right into the shock result itself. We're going to go inside the numbers and see what exactly caused this massive reaction.
Okay, so here's the crazy part. If you just looked at revenue, you'd be scratching your head. It actually missed expectations, just slightly. But that didn't matter one bit. The real story is the earnings per share. Wall Street was penciling in a loss, right? A loss of 5 cents a share. Instead, Gevo came in and delivered a profit of 1 cent. That 6-cent swing is what absolutely stunned everyone and completely changed the story for this company. And we're not just talking about a little beat here. This was a legitimately historic moment for Gevo. This was their first ever positive net income. And it was backed by a really solid $17.3 million in adjusted EBITDA, which is, a key way to measure how the core business is doing. This is the definition of a turning point. They went from a company that burns cash to one that actually generates it.
Okay, so the profit is real, no doubt about it. But where did it come from? How did this happen so suddenly? Well, the answer comes down to two new, really powerful revenue streams that the market, frankly, just wasn't paying enough attention to. First up, we have something called clean fuel production credits. You might have heard of them as the 45Z tax credit. Basically, it's a government incentive. Now, lots of companies get these credits, but here's the key. Gevo was one of the first to figure out how to successfully monetize them. They turned a piece of government policy into a big, fat stream of cash, right now.
The second piece of this puzzle? That's carbon dioxide removal credits, or CDR credits. And listen, these are not your run-of-the-mill carbon offsets. No way. We're talking about high-integrity, super valuable credits you get for literally capturing CO2 and locking it away permanently underground. Gevo is a real first mover in this space, and their credits are certified by Puro.Earth, which is like the gold standard. That makes what they're selling a premium product in a market that's just exploding. And here's the kicker. This is not a one-and-done deal. Management was really clear on this. They expect these credits to bring in more than $10 million a quarter. Every single quarter, all the way through 2029. That's not just revenue. That's a stable, predictable cash engine that completely changes the financial bedrock of the company. So, this new profit, it's way more than just a number on a spreadsheet. It completely changes the game for Gevo, unlocking a totally new playbook for how they operate. I think this slide lays out the whole transformation perfectly. You can think of it like Gevo has officially graduated. They're done with phase 1, that speculative, we hope this works stage. Now they are smack in the middle of phase 2, where they're a self-funding cash engine, all thanks to those credits. And all that cash, it's what's going to get them to their ultimate goal, phase 3, becoming a massive producer of sustainable aviation fuel. And you better believe they're putting that cash to good use. They are building up a serious war chest. We're talking about almost $127 million in cash, another $30 million freed up by refinancing some debt, and about $7 million more coming from a plant sale. They are seriously bulking up their balance sheets so they can fund their own growth. And that's huge, because it means they don't have to go begging the market for money anymore.
And right here, this is the end game. This is what it's all about. The CEO, Patrick Gruber, basically said their goal is to make renewable jet fuel that costs about the same as regular old petroleum jet fuel. I mean, just think about that. If they can pull that off, they unlock an absolutely massive market. They become a go-to solution for an airline industry that is desperate for this stuff.
Okay, so we've seen the numbers, we've seen the new strategy. Let's put it all together.
What's the call? After this massive turning point, where does Gevo go from here?
Here's the bottom line. The market is looking at Gevo in a completely new light. This company just got re-rated. It's not some speculative, maybe someday science project anymore. It's a profitable, right-now company, and it has a clear, funded path to becoming a huge player in sustainable aviation.
So, with that, here is our official next call. Looking ahead to the third quarter, we think this positive trend is going to continue. We're forecasting earnings of about 2 cents a share on revenue that ticks up a bit to around $45 million. With this new financial strength and all the positive sentiment, we see this momentum continuing, and we're setting a near-term price target of $2.50.
So our final rating here is a clear and decisive outperform. Gevo has pulled off a masterful pivot to profitability. They've seriously de-risked their story and have laid out a really credible path to creating a ton of value for the long haul.
And of course, we gotta say it. Remember, this is all just for informational purposes. You've always got to do your own homework and talk to a pro. This is not financial advice.